All right, so welcome back. So we are back here with Mike Pettiford from Go4 Racing with his 2017 Focus RS. Now, with the first installment, Mike had just got this car. It was a fun car. Wanted to turn it up a little bit, see what we could do with the Cobb Stage 2.
Because any car that's already fast can always be faster.
That's right.
And that's why I come to John at Flatirons Tuning.
That's right. That's what we do.
That's right.
But when we did that on this car, we had some weird results. So we were making a little bit more power, but we lost some top speed. We were just getting some inconsistencies that we were not expecting. So we went to the dyno, and we kind of saw some of that play itself out. But at the time, basically our guess at that point was, because this is a high compression, direct ignition, or direct injected car, we're doing everything on pump gas. We're wondering, okay, well, does it come down to the fuel? If we had 100 octane fuel, higher octane fuel, would that make a difference?
So I went out and got 100 octane unleaded fuel, put it in the car, and basically no change.
No difference. So this was out at High Plains Raceway, and we were still not able to do a full lap without going into limp mode.
Right.
Okay. So at that point we came back, and it was, in trying to figure out what was putting the car into limp mode, what we discovered is that there's some parameters that the car is looking at, primarily oil temp, coolant temp, and to a certain extent differential temperature.
Right.
Any one of those, if it goes too high, that will put the car into a limp mode. And what we were running into was coolant temps were spiking, and that's what was putting the car into limp mode, even on high octane fuel.
Right.
Now, just to answer some questions that might come up, because there was a known head gasket issue with these vehicles, this car had that checked out and it was corrected before we started doing anything to it. So that is not the problem in this case.
Correct.
It was just legitimately hitting high coolant temps, and that was what was putting it into limp mode.
Right.
So I think it was 240 degrees, 243 degrees, something like that.
Right.
So knowing that the coolant temps were spiking, what we did is we brought it back and we put the best radiator that we could find in it. We put in a Mountune radiator. So the top tip I can tell you is, if you're considering tracking the car and you want to put in a radiator, do it when you put in the intercooler.
Yes, do it one time.
Do it one time only. Save yourself a bunch of headache, because the radiator basically goes right around, the intercooler goes right around the radiator.
Right.
And so what we had to do is take all of the Cobb intercooler bits off.
Twice,
to be able to put the radiator in. So we finally got it put back in. And then, so we figured, okay, well now we got the better radiator. So we took it back to the track, and then what?
Well, virtually the same thing. We did the warm-up lap, and I was all set to do the fast lap, and it went into limp mode about halfway through the fast lap. So I got 1.5 laps before it went into limp mode.
So it was a little bit improved, but not enough to get 2 hot laps in, to really get the time.
Right.
Now, the interesting thing there is, the second time back with the better radiator, now it was the oil temps that were spiking that were basically causing the car to go into limp mode.
Right.
So in talking to people, there is a heat exchanger on this car like there is a Subaru. So there's basically a section where coolant is pumped around right above the oil filter to kind of try and stabilize oil temperatures.
Right.
So in theory, improving the radiator, improving the cooling it should have an effect on the oil.
In actuality,
not enough.
Not so much.
Not enough. So, and then there's just not a lot of real estate on the front of this car. So because it has a factory front-mounted intercooler, the bottom grill is pretty much full of all the intercooler. The only clean air that's coming in is through this top section. That's what's going to the radiator. And if you go with an aftermarket oil cooler, that's where it goes. So
covers up the radiator.
Then you don't have any clean air that's going to the radiator. Right. So in talking to the guys from Mountune, one of the reasons we didn't go to there right away is because they had done that, and they said that they had customers that actually had issues with coolant temperature spiking.
They had to take it off
with an oil cooler. So
and we didn't want to do that because they already disassembled the car twice.
That's right. We are getting better at it, but it is not. I wouldn't say it's fun.
No.
But yeah. So that's kind of the problem that we're at now. There is a new piece to the puzzle we've discovered as well, which is that to be conservative, Cobb actually dropped those limits of the Stage 2 map for oil temp and for coolant temp.
Right. So the thresholds are actually lower that it goes into limp mode after the Cobb modification.
Than factory.
Right.
And the reason there, again, is just to really try and safeguard the car, just in case there is that head gasket issue and whatnot.
Right.
But so what we discovered is, even though we're hitting these oil temps that's putting us into limp mode, it actually is below what the factory threshold would be.
Correct.
So the third attempt, hopefully the third time's a charm, is we reset those thresholds
back to factory
limits.
Right.
So hopefully that will get us at least a few laps before, before we hit limp mode and have to pull it in.
Well, and just to go over the lap times for a
Yep.
moment, bone stock at High Plains Raceway, 100% stock,
Yep.
the lap times were 2:09.
Okay.
With the only change being Hoosier R7 tires in the stock size on the stock wheels
Yeah.
with no other changes, 4 seconds a lap difference.
Well, they're good
Huge.
tires, but that's a big difference.
Yes. Now, that was before we put the extra power
Right.
and all of that. So now I'm really anxious to see, with the same tires, with the same setup and additional power, what will it do now?
Can you get into like the high 204s or something? Say.
That's, yeah.
But if the car doesn't want to do it,
Yeah.
you can bring the car to the track, but you
You
can't
can bring
make
the
it
car
go around.
to track, but you
Yeah.
can't make it on.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about maybe the reason why we've gotten to this point. This is a good car. I mean,
Yeah.
you drove it. You've had the STI,
Right.
But this one has it's a
Well,
fun car.
the reason that I ended up with this one was in doing the research, and I read all the magazines, and
Yeah.
I'm online getting all the information. Bone stock, this one is the fastest
Yeah.
between the WRX STI, the Golf R, and the Ford Focus RS. Stock for stock, this one is the fastest.
Sure.
Now, modified for modified,
Little bit.
inconclusive.
A little
Yeah.
bit more open, and this is a problem that we haven't run into as often. We're trying to figure
Right.
out, well, how far down the rabbit hole do we go to try and find a cooling solution to make it reliable?
Well, when we did the WRX STI, it has gone a few tenths faster than this has
Right.
before we made the changes.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
inquiring minds want to know.
That's right. Well, and you now have a Golf R too.
Yes,
So now there's a third. Basically, you're covering all the bases.
stay tuned.
I know why you're so fast, because you try everything out. Yes, and you
That's
just
right.
stick with the fastest.
Stick
car.
with the fastest car.
That's right.
That's right.
So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back with the factory threshold, see what happens, see if we can get a good lap time. I mean, 205 is a very respectable lap time at High Plains, but certainly 204 is better.
Yeah, or
So-
203.
Or 203.
So we'll see. So stay tuned.
Yes, perfect. And Mike, tell us where they can find out more about what you do and Go For It services.
Yeah, if you want to get your driver's license, we do basic training, intermediate, advanced. We do motorcycle, we do truck, bus, RV. Go to goforitservices.com, and it's the single digit number 4, like on the hood of the car,
Yeah.
not FOR or FOR.
Got it.
Or give us a call at 303-666-4113. Be more than happy to talk to you and answer all of your questions.
Perfect. Yes, one-stop shop for any of your driving education needs.
Yep.
So perfect. Well, thanks very much for bringing the car down, Mike.
Thanks, John.
Good luck at the track, and hopefully the third time is a charm, and we can come back with the last video and have a really good result for you.
See you guys.
All right, thanks very much.